Hey guys, welcome back to Minecraft. Let's go. Hopefully it doesn't crash like it did last time. I'm not using Lunar Client for this one. Because for some reason, I think it's just Lunar Client that's just been making things crash every time I try to play. So yeah, now I'm just doing just mod rinth, I guess. Just mod rinth is actually kind of easy to use. It's really not that hard. But anyway, yeah. Haven't posted a little bit. I do want to make my next video about more like critiques on the Devil May Cry anime that came out. Cause I don't know, I just want to give more of my thoughts on it since it's been out for a little while now, and I don't. I don't have to worry about spoiling anything. I don't think, at least, because it's only 8 episodes long. It's not super long. It's not that much of a watch. It's not like a One Piece or whatever, right? Yeah, I just want to talk some more about that, and because I have my criticisms and concerns about it. Like, my biggest concern is what are they going to do with the second season, because Netflix usually just does second seasons with positive, I guess, shows that are received positively, if that makes sense. They usually do stuff like that with those kinds of shows, which I'm not mad about. Makes sense, right? If it makes you money, you're gonna want to make more money with it. And I'm not concerned about if it'll come back. It's not my biggest concern. I'm concerned about what will happen when it comes back. Like, what will it be about? Because I'm not super sure right now what it's about. What it will be about, at least. You know what I mean? Cause, ooh, pretty. I like words. I kind of like what it's going for, right? There's a lot of it that I like where it's going for, but there's some parts of it where it's just so confusing, like why things are even there or how things got to one point or whatever. And I think there's a lot of things that they could have done better. And I guess this is just turning into a criticism. This is just like the small things I've been thinking about, at least. These aren't like the most, right? These are just like what I think would have been better for the show. Like, one, I think that they should have made Arkham the vice president, because then that way it would give Lady more of a gripe, right, with the vice president, rather than her killing her father just at when she was 6 or something, right? She was a kid when she killed her father, pretty much. That would be so... Because I think, I get it, but I think it's also pretty lame how that went. Because it was just bam, oh no, he's dead, he's not here anymore, oh wow. Mary killed him because he turned into, he didn't even look like a demon, he just straight up looked like a vampire. He looked so fucking dumb. But yeah, really wish they could have done that better. I still like Dante and stuff, right? But I still think they could have done him better as well. Mostly with the power aspect, because sometimes he's super powerful and then sometimes he's really weak. And I also really wish they did the demons and stuff better. I see some criticism saying, oh, they're henchmen, when yeah, they kind of always were henchmen. Well, for the most part, Agni and Ruda weren't. What's his name? But I'm pretty sure everyone else was, to some extent. Because, what's his name? Shoot. Oh, the lightning one, the one with the sword, that guy. He was originally working, oh, I shouldn't mind that, what the fuck am I doing? But, yeah, he was working for years in DMC 5. And I don't get why they're oh, they only they reduced them to henchmen. I was like, yeah, they kind of were henchmen. If you think about it, they kind of were. But Agni and Ruda weren't. I really liked I really like what they were going for in, you know, DMC 3, where it's like Agni and Ruda were just waiting for someone to like beat them, so you know the person can like own them and stuff and use them. I like that a lot, and I think they should have saved them up and used them for that when Dante goes to hell. That would have been so much better in my opinion. It would have been just so clean, just so much cleaner. It would have gave them, and like people are like, oh well, I don't like that they're Scottish. I'm like, I don't care about that part. There's a lot of stuff, like a lot of criticisms I don't care about. I don't care that lady has like a bigger part in the show, because really it's not that big of a deal. It's really well, actually not. I really wish it was more centered on Dante rather than what's it called? Shoot. What's the word I'm looking for? More centered on Dante rather than, you know, just like equally, because it felt pretty equally centered, right? You had to focus on Dante and then Darkham and like the vice president and lady and all that. I really wish it was more focused on Dante and like Virgil as well. I really wish they really played into that, and I also really wish that instead of like, well, not instead of it, because that episode was really great, but I think that they should have had also an episode about Virgil and Dante, because I think, and they could do that in season 2. They could really do that in season 2, but I think it'd be pretty, I don't know, it'd be much better if they did that rather than what they're doing now. Because really, Virgil... Oh, and here's another thing about Virgil, right? I don't like that he's already working for Mundus. That's another thing. Because that just doesn't make any sense. In DMC, it would have been way better, it would have been way more sense if they went like more of the DMC 3 route and had Virgil alive with Dante. That would have been way more... That would have made way more sense than what's going on here, I guess. Because here it's just like, Virgil's secretly alive, and now it's like it's probably gonna be clusterfuck because he's already working for Mundus. I was like, it's kind of weird. That, and he like, which again I get it, it's Virgil, but he willfully like went from, you know, what he was like I'm just forgetting the name, but you know, he was like the boss in DMC 1, you know, so he went from that to just straight up Virgil at the end, which means he had complete control, and I'm over here like, that doesn't make any sense. He didn't have any control when he was like that. Mundus had control over him, and I think that's why he stopped working for people, and during DMC, what's it called? DMC 5, he just straight up became what Mundus was. You know, like, in a sense. I like that part much better than just him working for Mundus, right? And I get that he's just doing it for power and all that, because that's really his character, right? I think that's in line with his character. I don't have a problem with that. It's just the fact that he has control over it so fast. That doesn't make any sense. It makes more sense. It would make more sense if he was older, right? Because this is supposed to be them, like, when they were younger, basically. And it would just make straight up more sense if he was just older, right? Like DMC 4 or something like that. Just older, in general. And had more control. Because at that point, you know, he has... he's at the point now, he would be at the point where he, like, knows how to use his power well, if that makes sense. I think that would make more sense than, you know, just him already being in control. I think that's kind of like a boring way of, like, putting Virgil in, honestly. I think that could have been way better, way better. And, you know, there's a lot of other things that could have been better too, of course. But that's like some of the things I'm like, that could have been written better. That could have been more of like It could have been more engaging. Could have been more, you know what I mean. And here's another thing with Dante. I don't dislike his character at all or anything, but I don't like the inconsistencies with his character and how powerful he is. Because one, like, I get that he gets shot right by Lady in the, the second episode. That makes sense because it's like, oh, he has demon blood, so it'll react and it'll explode within him. But what I don't get as much is how did he lose to getting shocked? Like, he got shot through the straight up through the chest and just walked it off. That doesn't make any sense to me. How he would just not be able to get back up right after that. And here's another thing. I don't get how they would be able to make straight up like cuffs for demons of Dante's strength, because they wouldn't have anything for someone that strong, because all they were fighting were lesser demons, or at least from what I got from like the scientist guy, he was saying, because there's still like a link between the two worlds. Only like lesser demons can come in and more powerful ones can't. Pretty sure that's what he was. That's basically what like he was going for, right? At least from what I remember, that's what he was going for. So I don't get how they would be able to cuff him completely without him, being able to just straight up break out. It doesn't make any sense. And here's another thing with the gun thing. Did I bring my bed with me? Yeah, I did. It makes sense that he would be affected by it, but and I don't think he was affected that much by it either. It didn't really seem like it, but I don't think it would work as well against him as it would someone else, like some other demon, like a full-blooded demon, because he's still like, he's also human as well. He's a mix of both. So yeah, it's just really, there's a lot of inconsistencies with it that like kind of like frustrates me a little bit. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Why is this like that? Ooh, a lot of it that just like straight up is just so blah. And here's another thing, because I guess this is just straight up a full criticism video now. Here's another thing with I guess with the president and like the political stuff in Devil May Cry in general. There are political undertones in some of the Devil May Cry games, not really all of them. It's really just been what can I think of? Really, I think the best example is DMC 4 for that, because I'm surprised that there's stuff on there like there's water beneath that. But yeah, best example I can think of is Devil May Cry, and not Devil May Cry, the Devil May Cry 4. And even like the reboot, kind of, even though it's still shitty, I think it still kind of done a little better of a job. I think, and the reason I bring it up is like the whole poetry slam thing that Dante had with the what's that guy? With the guy who captured Kyrie, right? He had a whole discussion with him before and after fighting him about humans and not caring about like Irony's judgment and all that. And I think like the main part that I'm gonna focus on is not caring about Irony's judgment, because like the dude said humans have to go through hell to finally accept and praise their precious god or whatever like that, and it's something that tickles Irony's judgment. And Dante says, and that judgment interests me not. Which really, I think, speaks to whole shit. Fuck. When did that get over here? Which I think really speaks to, how DMC goes with, like Dante and Virgil in general, and like the rest go with, I guess, politics in their world. Because they don't care that much about it. It's not really the biggest concern. It's not even like a big plot. And here's another thing, and I think I said this before, but it makes sense that the government would be stepping in to stop demons, right? Because I'm pretty sure it's pretty normal in the Devil May Cry universe. So for them to add that, like, the military and stuff also haunts demons, that makes complete sense to me. I get that a lot, that that makes sense. I understand that. I just don't understand why they had to make it like such a so on the nose. Because thing is, it doesn't have political undertones. It just has politics in it. It just shoves it in your face, which isn't always a bad thing, right? It's not a bad thing in like shows and stuff. You can have stuff like that is like that, but it has to be within its own universe, I guess. Like I think the best example of this is Code Geass, right? Code Geass don't really, it's very political, but it stays within its own politics, the politics of that world. It stays with that. And it has a lot of criticisms and stuff, but it's really only toward that world. And I guess you could expand that to like our world and stuff. You could really expand that, and you could say, oh, there's similarities here and there, right? Just makes sense, right? Because it's not really that different from how we're living. It's just like more futuristic, I guess, and a little more like a what's it called? It's like a medieval themed a little bit, I guess. Like you have kings and queens and all of that, like monarchies and all that, and princesses and whatever. But that's besides the point. I think you could get that better than what the Devil May Cry anime is trying to do, I guess, because it makes sense. Is that Emerald? Yes, it is. Oh God, I'm not gonna be able to reach that. Make more sense if he was just like and this is another thing. It would make more sense, way more sense, if it was Arkham for this reason. It would make sense for him to be the vice president and to involve the military in search to stop the demons, or because he's doing that anyway, or he was being in the background puppeted by a demon to do all of this, and convinced that it was the work of God or whatever. That would make a lot more sense, and maybe they're going for that. I'm not super sure. I don't think so, because it doesn't seem that way, but it would make much more sense if they went along that route, or just having Arkham in general being the vice president, because that would also make a lot more sense. Because we know, to be fair, we know nothing about the vice president. We just know super religious vice president. That's it. It's all we really know about him, and we don't really get to know anything more, which is what's it called? Which is unfortunate, because you'd think him being who he is, you would know about him a little bit at least. But no, right now he's just a very flat character, and I don't like that. That's why he's like my least favorite out of the entire cast. And I think that's like another reason why they're setting him up to be like a villain and stuff, but he's not going to be a good one. Ooh. He's really not going to be any good, in my opinion. Because he's just too flat. There's nothing going on with him that we can know about, that we can be like, hey, yeah, it's just other than that he's religious and, what he's doing is bad, I guess. And here's another thing. I don't like that they turned the demons, like, sympathetic. Like, again, I get it. But it still makes no real sense to me. I don't think you should sympathize demons from the Devil May Cry universe. Because really, in the Devil May Cry universe, they aren't really supposed to be good in any kind of way. They're there for a reason. And I guess you could say, oh, this is like an alternate universe, I guess, so they can do whatever they want. And that's true, but I think that's also really lazy as well. It's just a lazy way to excuse what I think is a little bit of bad writing. Because what are you going to do at that point, or even after? Right? Because there's already so many inconsistencies, and that's just another one of them. And I think it would be better if they went to hell and showcased that rather than showcasing that super early. Then that would be then that would be more of an excuse to be like, oh, okay, I see how things are here. This is a very pretty place. And I think that would just make more sense, or at least a little bit more sense than what's going on now. And yeah, but I guess there's a lot of other criticisms too, right, that other people are having, which I also don't agree with. Like, people are saying it's like the lady show and stuff, and I touched on that earlier, and it's really not. What I do agree with is I don't think lady should be cursing that much, and if she is, I think they should have went with she should be a loner, because that would make way more sense than how she is here. That would make way more sense. And I think it would be easier just to have her be a loner than to have her, just have her be how she is right now. And I don't like that, like, she calls herself Mary for just the reason that it doesn't make sense. Because we know that she hates her father that much to where she just changed her name to Lady after Dante just called her Lady, right? She just hates her dad that much. She hates being called Mary, at least, from what we know in the games and stuff. And they changed that. And it's not like that big of a deal or anything, right? She can call herself Mary all she wants, I guess. But I think it just takes away from her character a little bit. Because her character really isn't that much different from how it is in the games. It's just really she curses a lot, and I think that's really fucking weird. It's not like it's a childish way of showcasing a character or trying to make them cool, I guess, because they curse a lot. It's just like that's just not how it is. That's not what makes a character cool. The cursing, like, really. It's just really, like, not great, in my opinion. I don't think her cursing makes her any better of a character than she is in, in the games and stuff. I do like that she's less in the background, but I also get why she was more. Holy fucking shit! Holy hell! What the Jesus? That is huge. Yeah, I get why she's more, like, in the background as well in the games, because it's really focused on Virgil and Dante, which I also wished that was what was going on in the show. So that'd be way cooler. Or, because here's another thing, with the White Rabbit, because I read a little bit on the manga, it would make more sense if Arkham was live. Honestly, I think having Arkham get killed by Lady so early was a crutch for them. I think they should have kept him alive. It would make the White Rabbit make more sense, even though still, like, a really great character. Don't get me wrong, I really love his character, but I feel like things would make much more sense if they kept him, alive. Because really, it's really just a great transition into how Devil May Cry 3 starts. I feel like, at least in my opinion, it's just like really great transition into what happens, right? Because you know that Arkham manipulates basically everyone in the games, and I don't know, it just feels like it should have been like that. And I guess they're trying to do that with the Vice President, at least a little bit, but it's nowhere near as much. It's nowhere near, at least in my opinion, as good as how the games portray it, or even the manga portrays it. It's really all just super boring, because he's not really the one doing all the manipulating. It's all the White Rabbit, for the most part. And when he does do stuff that's a little manipulative, it's just like, yeah, I just kind of knew, and then that was it. It's just like so. It's like my biggest problem with this character is just so flat. It's just so boring for the Vice President. That's what I'm talking about. The Vice President. It's just so flat. I don't like him at all. And I don't think you're supposed to like him, right? I don't care for that part. Like, yeah, he's supposed to be bad and evil and whatever, but the way his character is written, I just don't like it at all, because it's just so fucking boring. Holy shit. Like, there's nothing about him, except for that he was voiced by Kevin Conroy, that I'm like, oh, that's really cool, right? It's like, so, he's just such a lame character in my opinion. He's just so boring. So I was like, oh, this is just God's divine plan and all that stuff, and that's his whole character. That's literally his whole character, and it's just really frustrating. It's like, why just make that his character? Why don't you just make him a little cooler, just a little bit at least? That way, for the next, what's it called? For the next season, you have someone interesting, you know, to go up against. That would be way better than how they're, you know, doing things now. It's just like, it's just so blah. Like, it frustrates me. I'm like, why are you doing all this for this character? And he doesn't even do anything, because he really just doesn't do anything the whole show except for go here, go there, and then that's it. I don't like his character. I just really don't like his character. It's cool that he was voiced by Kevin Conroy, though. It's like definitely the coolest part about his character. He was just voiced by Kevin Conroy, fucking Batman. And I guess that I like that Kevin Conroy's last, you know, the last voice lines we hear are from a villain, or who's supposed to be a villain. I just don't like that it's just such a bad villain. He's really just not that good at all. I think it would have been much better if, you know, shoot, what was that one, like, religious group from DMC4? I really wish that he was part of that or something, right? Or he made that, right? That would be so much better. That would be so much cooler. And I get that, you know, DMC4 was rushed and all that, but I feel it would just be so much cooler if they introduced that. You know, they made that just already in, just bam, in there. It's all in there. And another thing with it is like, I also understand that it's supposed to be, shoot, what's it called? Oh, what's it called? It's supposed to be more grounded. And the thing with that is, I don't know how he was gonna make it more grounded, the guy who made it, at least. Because I feel like that's so hard. At least Devil May Cry is just so hard to make grounded. So it's just such a fantastical kind of series. And I think he needs to make it less grounded for it to be perceived at least a little better. Because at least less grounded in our world and make it more of how it is in the games a little bit. Like a lot more gothic, a lot darker. This is like another thing that I like about DMC 3 a whole lot. It's always in darkness. There's not like a trace of sunlight, right? I like that a lot, and I think for the whole Virgil and Dante thing, if they ever make what happened in DMC 3 a thing in the show, they should make it at night. That would have been perfect, because that really goes with like the dark undertones of DMC 3, and like the DMC universe in general. But I just really like it if it was more like of a gothic atmosphere rather than just like they're in New York, right? Or they're just in America, or they're going into into hell. And you know what? Like, here's the thing about hell. I really like the design for hell. I really like how they made it. Like the art style and everything. I love like the art style changes in, you know, episode 6. Like, there's a lot of good things about the show. This is just like the really bad parts, in my opinion. Like, the really bad parts are really bad, in my opinion. It's just like so much. There's also a lot more good than there is bad, in my opinion. It just really sucks sometimes how bad this stuff is. Because it's like, I don't know. You see one thing, at least, right? You see how it goes, and it's just like, oh, look at me, or whatever. And it's like Dante and whatever, and he's just like strong super sometimes, and just not that great other times. And there's like another thing with it too. How people are like, at least some people say that Dante, because here's the thing with Dante's character. I really like his wittiness in the show. I think that's spot on, for the most part. People don't like some of the references, and I don't mind them as much. Like the Marvel references with like the Human Torch and stuff. That one I don't mind because it's like it's not completely separate from the Capcom universe. You know, because Marvel versus Capcom and all that, he was in the game. The Human Torch wasn't, but Nova was, and I think it would make more sense if he brought up Nova. But still, Human Torch also makes sense, right? But I feel like it would make more sense if he was stronger and saying all of that. Because with him, at least in the games, his wittiness comes from his confidence in himself. And when he's not confident, he's not like that at all. He's not super witty or anything. He becomes super serious when it needs to be super serious. Like when he's up against Virgil for the most part. Like when he sees Virgil for the first time, he's like, oh, look at this. It's like a fucked up family reunion or whatever like that. Right? In DMC 3. And even in DMC 5, when he finds Virgil and he's super serious, he doesn't make any jokes at all. Same thing when he tells Nero that Virgil's his father. He's extremely serious about that. When things need to be serious, he's super serious about it. But when things aren't super serious, at least to him, when it's not a threat, he can make jokes about it. He can make light about it. And that's just not something that this Dante really does as much, unless someone's about to die, right? Or someone's actively in danger. Then he's more like that. But it's just not the best, I think. I think they should have made him stronger and more confident rather than weaker and, just witty. And I think they'll make him stronger, in the second season, because, like, what else are you supposed to do with this character? Like, he's not going to stay the same the whole time. I think that would make him really flat. And I guess it's like the same thing with the demons, right? I think the demons were also kind of weaker. Here's another thing. Agni and Ruda, right? I'm bringing them back up. They seem not weaker, but I feel like if they were more in sync, like they were in the games, like when you fight them, they're fighting you together rather than separately. And I think that would have been much cooler to see than just him fighting them one at a time, right? And it does have like traces and nods and stuff, like how, when you beat Agni or Ruda for the first time, because you can beat them both separately or both at the same time. Depends on how fast you are. But if you beat one of them, they run back to the pillar, they jump up, and then they summon their, counterpart's sword, right? And then they fuse it together and they use both, which is really cool. And I really wish it was more like that than it was, Dante unlocks, he didn't even unlock Devil Trigger. He just straight up killed, Ruda. Shit, he didn't even unlock Devil Trigger. He just straight up killed him. And here's another thing. Fuck. Damn, my mind is scrambled right now. I'm like, there's this thing, and then fast forward because I just brought up Devil Trigger. I think they should have just kept with Dante being stabbed by Virgil to unlock Devil Trigger. I think that would make much more sense. I think that would have been way fucking cooler than just him unlocking it to save people. It just, like, it has more weight that Virgil had him unlock his Devil Trigger than him doing it himself. Which doesn't make sense, I guess, if you're just hearing it. But if you watch the show and then you play Devil May Cry 3 and you see how both play out, for me, at least, it makes more sense that Virgil was the one to have him unlock his Devil Trigger rather than him and, like, the White Rabbit doing it first. Because that also makes me think, I think that makes their encounters a little less impactful, at least for when, the second season comes out. Because Virgil is supposed to be stronger than Dante at first. for the obvious reason of he knows how to use his power. He's been looking for power, and Dante hasn't. And I feel like that would be more interesting. It would be more impactful for that to happen than for them to both be like on the same ish level at that point. Ow! Oh fuck! No. Oh, there's two of you. Shit. Good thing I have a bed. But yeah, I feel like it would be more impactful just to have Virgil be, stronger out of the two by like a good margin, rather than have him be about at least seemingly about the same strength. And you can argue, oh, he'll probably be stronger because he came out of Mundus's control, right? And I think that makes sense. Well, to a certain extent, it makes sense. But also, I think it just also, for Virgil, it also, undermines his journey as well. Because really, at the end, Virgil basically sacrifices himself pretty much, and Dante and him both pretty much seal what's it called, like the cross between worlds, hell and earth and all that. And I feel like I like that more as well. I think that also has more, there's a lot of things that the games have more weight than the show does itself. And I don't think the second season is gonna have the same impact for it as the games did, at all. Because for that reason, at the end of Devil May Cry 3, which is kind of like a common thing between Devil May Cry, at least if you read the novels and the manga and stuff. There's a common thing with Dante and him saying devils never cry, and just the term devil never cry in general, right? And the only time he does cry, at least from what I remember, because I know he says it in the manga, but I've only saw the panel. I don't know if he actually cried or not. But the only time he does cry is when he loses Virgil. And you have Lady, this is another thing, which I really wish, because this is a thing that they could have done in the first season already, because Dante and Virgil, not Dante and Virgil, Dante and Lady were already working with each other so much by that time. I really wish that Lady and Dante were Dante grew on Lady more. This is a thing that happened in the games that didn't happen in the anime as fast. But Lady, having Dante grow on her, asks if he's crying, right? And he says it's just the rain and all that. I think that is a really impactful moment, and that's not a moment we're gonna get in Devil May Cry the anime, at least the second season. But yeah, I'm gonna stop talking about this here. I'll probably go on more about it in a more coherent video at some point. But if you like this, share, subscribe, all that. I'm surprised it's only been 19 minutes. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.